Hey, what's going on guys? Mixube here, and in today's video we're going to be taking a look at a Izzet control deck for standard best of one. So this deck is inspired by the Izzet control deck that Mistman piloted during the Fade 2 Karma tournament over the weekend and did fairly well with, but it's tuned to the standard best of one meta and to my own personal playstyle and taste. So I'll get into the deck very quickly. I just want to briefly mention, I think this deck is very powerful, and I've had a lot of success with it. It has a lot of removal, has a lot of counter magic, and a lot of card advantage, and those are all things you're looking for in your control decks. So we'll start out with the Companion. We have Zerda. It's basically free. It's a very cool card. We're not exactly giving anything up to run it, and if there's something you really want to run, you can just swap it out. And I mean, you can put it in the deck and drop Zerda, but this deck was built not with Zerda in mind. It just happens to be free. We have red mana, so we might as well play it, and you can, tap some stuff. Nothing really benefits from the activated abilities that aren't mana abilities, cost 2 less to activate, but, it's here as a free creature. We have some Frostbites. This is a payoff for being in snow. 1 mana bolt something that's not face is very solid. We don't exactly lose out on much for it not being able to go face because we are a control deck. Amazing card. We have Visuaries. Force spike something, force your opponent to respect it once you've played it as a tap land. They don't know how many you run. I really like Juarez, especially in best of one. We got some negates, very, very playable. Good against aggro, hits the non-creature side of adventure creatures. Hits stuff like Embercleave, Great Henge. Good against rogues, amazing against Ultimatum. Good against cycling, where you hit their Zenith Flares. I think this card is super playable. Not at 4 copies, but I think 2 is the sweet spot. Fire Prophecy, I prefer it over Dragonfire. It kind of cycles a card out. Depending on the matchup, you're going to either want removal or counter magic, and sometimes you really just need card advantage. So Fire Prophecy can help you look for whatever you need in that specific matchup and cycle out a certain card. If you value the exile more, you can go for it, but I just like my Fire Prophecies. Iteration, definitely 4 of a 2-mana draw 2 that basically helps you hit your land drop and give you card selection on one of the cards you're going to put in your hand is amazing. Really, really good card. Divide by 0, we are best of one. We can take advantage of the learn mechanic, and we have a little learn board I can go through here. We got some sciences, hit your land drops, teaching, draw some cards, start from scratch, remove a thing, or blow up an artifact. This basically just gets you to cycle through your deck. I mean, ditch some cards, draw some more cards, make a 3/2. It's just a 5/5 in the board if ever you need one, and the exhibition for going super wide. We only have 1 learn card, so we don't really have any reason to put 2 ofs in the learn board unless you ever want to buy it back with overload, but I think that's fairly niche. I'd rather just have a wide selection of learn cards. Saw it coming, Universal Counterspell, Crush the Weak. I really like this card. You can foretell it on 2 and then board wipe on 3. Good against any decks that have a lot of cheap creatures. And the exile can be relevant as well. I'm just a fan of Crush the Weak. I recommend trying this out. The opponent won't know if you have a Saw It Coming or a Crush the Weak, and no one plays around this card. Just keep that in mind. Will or Rowan, they both have the instant and sorceries you control cost 1 less to cast, which is super relevant. If you play Rowan on 3 plus her once, she becomes a 3 mana, or she goes up to 3 loyalty, and then if you plus her again, she's at 4. So this thing can ultimate in 3 turns, and when it does, you get an emblem with whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, you may pay 2 mana. If you do copy that spell, you may choose new targets for that copy. So if they can't remove Rowan in 3 turns, which to be fair is doable, but if you can play Rowan and protect it, you're at a huge advantage as long as you can ultimate this thing. And Will comes down, draw some cards, also gives you the passive. The +1 is fine, and the -7 rarely comes up, but I think a 1 of this Planeswalker is just a fun little tech. Prismatic Command, very versatile card. Shock, you can siphon through your deck, create a treasure, or destroy an artifact. Solid card, good 1 of. We have Storm's Wrath, which is the only nombo with the Rowan. This hits Planeswalkers, don't forget that. Don't play Rowan and then just Wrath your own Planeswalker a turn later. But yeah, I think we need more actual board wipes because we have a bunch of cheap removal, 2 pseudo board wipes, and then these are also kind of pseudo board wipes. But I like the Wrath, just don't play Rowan into it. You have plenty of stuff to do on 3 with your mana if you know you're going to have to Wrath on 4. So, just be careful with that. Overload is a really good card. I've never been a huge fan of it, but the more I play this deck, the more I like it. You create an XX blue and red weird creature, basically just a token where X is the number of instants or sorceries you have in your yard, so this thing can get really big very quickly. Then you return an instant or sorcery card from your graveyard to your hand. So this makes a creature and draws you a card that you need kind of quote unquote draws you a card. So I really like it. Against aggro, it can get you another removal spell, make a fairly sizable blocker. Against control, you can get more card draw or counter magic and make a threat they have to deal with. Really good card. The only problem is it is a sorcery, so don't just tap out for it if you know you're going to have to counter something. Graven Lore, the other payoff for being in snow, kind of replaces Behold the Multiverse. Really good card. I like it because we play mostly a Drago. Oh god, I have to slow down. Anyways, a Drago playstyle, and Graven Lore being able to be cast if we don't need to interact or kill anything, counter some stuff, and drawing a million cards and scrying through our deck is very solid. And then we have the win cons, Shark Typhoon, Magma Opus. You guys know these cards by now. You can make the Opus cheaper with the Rowan, you can discard it for some treasures, you can ramp into it with a command. Some matchups you can slam this Typhoon, most of the time you're just holding it up at instant speed and cycling it. For the mana base, we have a bunch of Snowlands, Pathway, one Castle Vantress. Don't forget this has the island type, so it'll enter untapped off the Snow Duel, and one Haven, because it can be a win con, but I don't want too many off-color lands, and the Snow mana is mostly here for Frostbite and Graven Lore. Anyways, guys, deck list will be in the description down below. As always, if you like the deck, be sure to drop a like on the video and consider subscribing. It motivates me to make more content. So that's gonna be it for me, guys. Let's get into some games. Okay, opponent's gonna start. We have some good lands. This removal's a bit annoying, but we have a Shark Typhoon and a castle, so let's keep it. And it's Sultai, so we're definitely going to need to find some counter magic. This would be a really good hand against anything aggressive. And now I'm starting to worry a little bit. Full removal, one Shark Typhoon. We are leaning on this thing. Maybe this was a mulligan, but we also drew 2 more removal spells. These could have easily been counter spells. And I feel like while deck building, we have to lean heavier on removal because it's best of 1. Alright, what does the opponent have? I'm not saying my removal's dead, I'm just saying it's not very live. They buy Yorion, okay. Drago. Nothing to remove. I could have also just played another red. We can double spell Yorion down. I think I'm just going to cycle this for 1. We have to get deeper into the deck, find our counter spells and stuff. A third Frostbite. Very good. Without a third Snowland, I might add. This has been an unfortunate draw. Well, at least that's another Snowland. Okay. Let's go. Easy getting in there for 1. If these were 3 Sot Comings, we'd be pure chillin' right now, but instead we have just a bunch of burn spells that can't even go face. Sad time. I hope my opponent's hand is full of removal as well. At least we'll be able to cycle some of it away with Fire Prophecy, if we ever find a target. I'm going to crack this now and thin my deck. Just grab another mountain. And then put one of these on blue for the castle. Shark Typhoon's pretty good. Let's attack for 1 again. We might see an Alrund's Epiphany, which would be super unfortunate. Like, Alrund's Epiphany into Ultimatum, we literally just lose. Okay. Shark for 3. Let's go, gotta get deeper into the deck. Another Shark Typhoon, nice. Shark Typhoons into Shark Typhoons. So let's attack. Iteration's a good draw as well. I think we play out Iteration and try to find our counter magic. None of this is counter magic, so kind of unfortunate. This can cycle for something. But is that better than just having two more lands? I think it is. So we'll put this in our hand. Library exile. Pass turn. One. When it will behold. Hold on. What's my cards in hand count? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm gonna have to discard. It's fine. We can just drop off as Frostbite because at least these cycle. And we are always representing counter magic. So the opponent might be worried to play their ultimatums just into 4 open mana, a lot of it being blue. Okay, they opt for an Elspeth's Nightmare on the weak shark. I'm considering using a Fire Prophecy on it to cycle away a card and try to find more counter magic. I think that's the plan. Just cycle away a Frostbite or a Storm's Wrath. I think we go for a... this is instant speed and it's cheaper. I think we just get rid of the Storm's Wrath. Opus, interesting. Okay. And that's it, awesome. Another Prophecy. Well, we have drawn our removal, that's for sure. I think we just put this on... Well, we could put this on red. We have 7 mana. We've drawn so much removal and none of our 6 counterspells. They get to look at my hand. So, do I cycle away Shark now? Sure, I think they have to be able to take the Shark. And they just see a handful of removal. Super, super unfortunate. But there are ways that we can still draw into a counterspell, even through all this. Yeah, they get rid of Shark Typhoon, makes sense. They foretell again. Our draw has been unfortunate. If we were against mono red or mono white, we're laughing. But we are not in those matchups. So yeah, 7 mana, so let's take a scry. See, the thing is about Overload is it's not bad, but it costs 4 mana. Then we get back an iteration, and we can maybe find a negate. Alright, I think we have to keep one of these. And my best bet is to go Overload into land plus counterspell. Sorry, Overload into iteration, then hit land plus counterspell. But I'm not taking both because I don't want to get into another iteration. All right, they just eliminate my shark. That's fine. I could have also Fire Prophesied it to cycle, but I don't think that's the plan. They're representing some sort of counter magic here. What you got? I will take my iteration. I mean, they know I have no counter magic in hand, so this is literally my best bet. Oh, we hit it. Okay, hand. Library. Exile. That's actually so cheesy. Alright, well, I would have been happier with a red source so we could represent all this removal, but it's okay. And yeah, our grave was getting exiled anyways, so future not expressive iterations, experimental overloads wouldn't be that great. The extinction event, that's totally fine. It's just my 3/3. Not making the treasure, I might need to just hardcast this opus. That's interesting. I think I don't foretell it on the off chance that I just get to throw an opus at the opponent. But then again, maybe it's better just to set up with a counterspell and hold open Castle Vantress Scries. Yeah, that might have been it. But the opponent's kind of stuck on land. They cling to Dust, sure. I know they have 5 mana, so they might just play Yorion. Okay, 6 mana. So this is this looks more and more like Dimir Control the longer I play against it. They have this Triumph which threw me off in the beginning, but all these are Dimir Control-y cards. So these might just be Saw It Comings. The Biblioplex kind of secures that. Okay, so I'm gonna try to fight over this Opus. We're just gonna take a scry. Should have foretold. It's okay. More lands. How do we feel about more lands? I think 8 is good. We could try to push for more, but I am just gonna try to foretell and do that. So foretell. Do I just foretell this one? I think so, because then I'll be able to scry. Sure, so just one for now. Maybe I should have kept the land. Interesting game. And the fact that we're not against Ultimatum makes it a lot more interesting. And the fact that these aren't Allrun's Epiphanies and they're probably Sot Comings is also very interesting. So I guess this game's gonna kind of come down to a counterspell war over my Opus. Or if I could find another Shark Typhoon, the fact that I already have 3 gone is super unfortunate. The opponent can definitely outcard me. They play Yorion. Do I care? Not really. They get to draw a couple cards, but maybe if I had left open another red this turn, that would have been ideal. Yeah, I think that resolves. They'll be able to blink their Omen, but I think that's fine. Okay. I'll just use Castle. Not ideal. I think I've played this a bit too passive. Two to the bottom. Okay, let's take a scry. Graven Lore. That's a good one. Definitely a good one. So, do I double spell this thing now? I think so. Just try to cycle away some of my removal, try to hit a land. That's not a land. I think, do I use this one? Then have 4 mana? Or this one and have 5? I think 4 seems fine because we have negate plus Saw It Coming. So sure. We'll use this one. If they counter a Fire Prophecy, then that's totally fine. They divide their own Yorion. Alright. They don't get to learn either. Okay. So the game's kind of cleaned up. Like the board is kind of stabilized. And now I only have cards I really like in the matchup. They foretell again. Is this their whole foretell zone? In exile, they have 3 cards on a passage because they cling their own passage. Okay. All right. So am I foretelling these Saw It Comings? I kind of want to be able to defend a Graven Lore with a Saw It Coming. So I think we just pass. I mean, we're still representing Opus as well every single turn, which they know about even though it's not revealed. So, okay, game is back on track, but very interesting start based on the fact that we drew like 8 removal spells and our sharks in the early game. Okay, they're clinging to draw. I mean, let's be real here. Their hand is probably full of removal. One of the ways that we win this game is by playing an Opus on their end step, actually resolving the Opus and having them fight a huge counterspell war over it, so we can end up having 2 4/4s, 4 damage to their face, and just kill them. They play a Nightmare to get into my hand. That's kind of annoying. I think we just say no to that. Are they going to fight a counterspell war over the Elspeth's Nightmare? No, they're not. Okay. And the opponent will pass. So I really want to resolve this Graven lore, but it will get countered. So I guess we're taking some scries. What do we have? The opponent can resolve something right here. They resolve a Behold. Okay. I don't think I would have countered that anyways. I think now I need some more mana. We have all our tools. Haven's good. Put one of the islands at the bottom. This Haven can actually kill the opponent. So we'll tap it, tap a red, foretell one of these. Now, do I foretell the other Sot coming? I don't think so. I think this is fine. Because I can, I mean, I like the ability to play a 2-mana counter and still scry. I also like the ability to play Graven Lore and defend it with one counterspell, depending how low the opponent wants to tap. So I could resolve Graven Lore right here. Like, I could force it through unless they have literally 2 mystical disputes. But I don't think that's the plan. Interesting staring match. The opponent slams a Shark Typhoon. I'm gonna go with no. I'm gonna just go with a no on that. Not down to have that on the board. Resolves, cool. Okay. And now, can this get countered? Do I care if this gets countered here? We can't defend it. I think we just scry. Then I can slam the lore during my turn, maybe. Don't want crush. I feel like if I want land, it has to be untapped. We have to use all our mana all the time. Okay, there's some untapped land. So this costs 5. Then I will be able to defend it, but we'll have a bunch more gas. Or I could pass and try to get the Opus down. But see, if we do a whole counterspell war on just a couple cards, the opponent can slam a Shark Typhoon. And if I try to force through the Opus now, they can sorcery speed to event the 2/4/4s, which are kind of acting as a win con. So I think we pass. I could have also gone to attack with the Faceless Haven. Okay, the opponent's going to scry. I think now is the time to resolve my Graven Lore and still have 2 counterspells open. Okay. Tap here, 2, 3, 4, 5, like this. Sure. Pay with 5 snow. I think all of that goes to the bottom. Maybe we should have kept the Juaris, but I don't think we want any of this. Jeez. All right, well, that's better. We have an iteration, we have a negate. Cool, cool. Those are some much better draws than whatever we put at the bottom of the deck. And I don't really want to shuffle this thing. We have a Magma Opus and an Overload, but everything else is kind of meh. Okay, opponent foretelling a lot of cards. So how many Sot Comings have they used? None. Jeez, okay. And we still have 2 and a negate. I think that's honestly it for our counter magic. Is the opponent trying to flashback a Cling to Dust? Yes, they are. On my Graven Lore. Okay. I think that's fine. It's a very mana intensive play, and then it doesn't get them very, very far ahead. I think we just scry again. I don't think there's any point in using the command. And the castle's really good here because we can scry stuff like that to the bottom. I don't think I need that pathway. I'll probably find some untapped land anyways, and if I need more mana, I can always just reshuffle the deck, even though it's not ideal. And the opponent discards an extinction event. Cool. So, how are we doing this? How are we doing this? I want more mana before I try to go for the Opus play. Maybe that's a bit greedy. Maybe I should just go for the Faceless Haven, because one Faceless Haven attack, no, we need 2 attacks. I'm trying to see how I can find lethals. Prismatic Command can go face. What else is in the deck really that I care about? There's another Saw It Coming, another Divide by Zero, more iterations, another Gravenlord, another Shark Typhoon. Okay. I think we can play an iteration here. That seems pretty good. That seems very good. Am I casting it this turn, though, is the question. 1, 2, 3, and then I'll have 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, and I'll have 5 mana. Do I want 5 or do I want 6? I think 5 is okay. So we can put this in our hand. Put this to the bottom. Exile this. Not attacking with you. Ooh, what if I cast Wolf for 5? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think that's good. And then we have 3 mana, which isn't a lot, but if this resolves, we're really happy. They divide. I think I go for a negate. Honestly. So will comes down because I'll be able to have 1 mana Saw It Coming, right? So we go here, draw some cards. All right, more counter magic. We literally are holding counterspell in our hand. All right, that discount can be huge. And we have universal counterspell for 1 mana, and they also have to respect this thing. I mean, it comes down, it can plus for a little bit, but it's really here for the passive. We could have also just forced Rowan down and then tried to go for the emblem. That might have been better, but I think cards are very important. Okay, they go for a Typhoon, so we go for a counterspell. They have another Saw It Coming, I'm guessing. The fact that this says blow up target artifact is super unfortunate instead of enchantment. I mean, they're going to counter this, right? Like, you can't just chill and do nothing. Yeah, okay. So Shark Typhoon comes down. We could just divide it to hand. That's cheesy. That is cheesy. I think we main phase this. Right to the hand. Now what do we grab? There's no enchantment removal in our learn board. There's artifact removal. I guess we can grab, like, the teachings or something. Sure, I'll grab teachings in case we ever need more cards. Now what? Opus comes down for 7. We can defend it with some counter spells. Oh, man. Hard game, hard game. Five, 6, 7. Then we have 1 counter spell up. I don't think that's particularly great. Do I want to play iteration this turn, or do I want to just chill and pass, or do I want to foretell a bunch of cards? Foretell. I think we just set up some more, right? Okay, we'll start with iteration. Hand. Library. Exile. Cool. And we can go here. Foretell. So that's 1 mana counterspell. And then I'll have, I think we just foretell one of them for now. I think that's good. Okay, long game. Very long game. The discount coming in really clutch. Mana is a big deal here. The opponent taps the Biblioplex. Shark Typhoon. I'm going to go with no on that, and I'm going to use the one in my hand because hand size is starting to become an issue. Opponent saw it coming, I saw it coming. I will counter their Shark Typhoon. Did they have a negate? If they have a dispute as their last counterspell, we're chilling because we can pay for it. Okay. One more mana and we would have had Gravenlore. I think we can command here. Just shock their face. Try to draw some cards. Discard 2. I don't think we're gonna ever use this right now. I don't think it's very good, and I don't want to shuffle my deck with a passage, so I'll discard that. Oh my god, we've gotten to all the cards we scryed to the bottom. Okay, interesting. A very interesting spot. Do we try to slam our own Shark Typhoon? Could be the plan. I could also just iteration for these two cards. I have counter magic in my yard. Yes, I do. I guess we're plussing on nothing. I could animate this, but I am fairly certain they just have a 2-mana removal spell. So are we trying to get Opus down, or are we just trying to slam Shark Typhoon? I have no counter magic, which worries me, like, quite a bit. Okay. Well, I think we actually just iteration for Opus. So what are we going to see the top 3? We're going to be able to get a Fabled Passage as our land. All right, seems pretty good. Unless I want to put this in my hand, put this back in the library, and then 1, 2, 3. Yeah, okay, seems fine. Put this into the library, and we're going to cast this turn for 3 mana. Will the opponent counter my casual 14/14? I'll take my counterspell back. Play out my land. We have 7 mana. Okay, I think we pass here. I don't really want to animate this Haven. Will on the field is so huge because I don't know if you guys have noticed, but the entire time we're playing this game, we're fighting a huge mana war. And Will just helps with that. It means we could just do so much more during all of our turns. So we know we'd be drawing with Gravenlore. It's not exactly great. It's just a bunch of removal spells. We have to kill our opponent soon. Okay, they go for an extinction event. That's completely fine. On even, sure. They know I have at least 1 Opus in my hand. They play Ashiok. You know what? I also think that's fine. It means they'll only have 2 mana, so we can resolve an Opus. We can force this thing through. Wait, can we? They plus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I need a bit more mana to actually proper force it through. Hold on. How much? If I cycle for 3? Yeah, I could cycle this for 3. And then what? Then I could attack them with a Faceless Haven and force through an Opus. And then that's lethal. They only have 2 mana. And I'm doing this for 3 to be able to counter any removal spell they have. Absolutely not. We're doing it like that. We're tapping here, here, here. And going 1, 2, 3. We're holding open double blue. Oh, I should have done it for 4. All right, miscounted my mana by 1. It's okay. It's fine. All right, so let's do this. We start with Opus. We deal 4 damage here. Submit. And we tap you and you. Submit. I'm guessing we're going to see a counterspell. Okay. So we counter their disdainful stroke. The opponent goes to 5. 1, 2, 3. Then we can animate here. And we kill them. Oh, what a game. Whew. My God, guys. If you sat through that, that's crazy respect. We literally managed to find a line because the opponent tapped super low for Ashiok. Long game. All right, guys, and we are back. So, due to the fact that that game was a 30-minute long control mirror, I'm not going to make you guys sit through another one, and I'm kind of burnt. I don't really want to play another one. As you can imagine, the aggro matchup is pretty good. As long as you find one of your, or some of your very many removal spells, you'll be fine, and then you'll be able to take over the game with stuff like Shark Death Food, Magma Opus, Graven Lore. The reason we weren't casting all our big spells there is because obviously they run counter magic, but in a control, or in a aggressive matchup, basically when you're against something aggressive, you don't have to worry about counter magic. At least you shouldn't have to. If it's like Izzet spells, maybe, but like mono red, mono white, your opus is going to hit, or you can make a big shark and not have to worry all that much about it. So I mean, there is Glass Casket, but you guys get the point. I digress. So I don't feel like I really need to demonstrate the aggro matchup. It's fairly straightforward. Just make sure you remove all their threats properly, hold up counter magic when you think you need to, and then take over the game with big spells. Anyways, if you guys sat through this, you're an absolute champ. And if you want to try that deck out for yourself, it will be in the description down below as always. And I will catch you in the next one. Peace out.